am.
All right. Today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about global warming and some common misconceptions that some people have on global warming. Now, I have a picture. How many of you think that this is a viable option for the future of our planet as what you know about global warming? Anybody? Who doesn't think that this is going to happen? Think this is a possibility? No? Okay. I've been doing some research on this topic and have found some interesting things that you probably would all like to know. Today I'm going to discuss a little bit, like I said, about some common myths and some common facts about global warming. First, I'd like to point out to you that global warming and cooling have been occurring on the planet since the planet was created. The public has been led to believe that man is the cause of global warming. It's been said that elevated CO2 levels are causing the surface temperature of our planet to rise to higher than normal temperatures since the 1970s. In truth, temperatures did rise for a 20-year period from 1970 to 1990, but for the last 11 years, the planet has actually been cooling. Did you know that during both the Roman and medieval periods in our history, the Earth was actually several degrees warmer than it is now? Now that you've seen that global warming is a natural occurrence, let's look at some myths about global warming. Myth: global temperatures are rising at unprecedented rates. Fact: accurate satellite, balloon, and mountaintop observations made over the last several decades have not shown any significant change in the long-term rate of increase in global temperatures. Myth 2: humans produce carbon dioxide has increased over the last 100 years, adding to the greenhouse effect, thus warming the Earth. Fact: carbon dioxide levels have indeed changed for various reasons, just as they throughout history. Since the beginning of the Industrial Revolution, the CO2 content of the atmosphere has increased. The rate of growth during this period has also increased from about 2% a year to the present rate of about 4% a year. This rate has been constant for the last 25 years. However, there is no proof that CO2 is the main driver of global warming, as measured in ice cores dated over many thousands of years. CO2 levels move up and down after the temperature has done so, and are the result, not the cause, of the warming. Myth 3: receding glaciers and the cleaving of ice shelves are proof of global warming. Fact: glaciers have been receding and growing for hundreds of years. Glaciers melting, and the consequence of coming out of a very cool period like the Little Ice Age, ice shelves have been breaking off for centuries. Scientists know of at least 33 periods of glaciers growing and then receding. It's normal. I have presented evidence to you today that there are some common misconceptions about global warming. In conclusion, we have talked today about the myths and facts surrounding global warming. We've talked about misbelief that CO2 levels are causing the temperatures to rise, and over 20 years, from 1970 to 1990, they did. But for the last 11 years, like I said, temperatures have been falling. As you can see, the natural cycle of the Earth is to warm and to cool. This will continue to take place. While it is not good for mankind to pollute the environment, it is not man that is to blame for global warming. I have a short video, actually. Thank you. Well, that was my graph that shows, this is actually the hockey stick graph that actually shows scientists believed that global warming was taking place, and going back over the research, they were able to prove that global warming actually is not, not taking place, but it was the opposite. That temperatures were actually warmer in the past than they've been in the future, or that they're going to be. And let me pull up my video.
Major cities.
These are the kind of extremes that movies like The Day After Tomorrow propagate about global warming. Even Jake Gyllenhaal is insane. This, you know, is fake. But you can get similar stories from less convincing actors and no cool special effects. But you still get all the trauma.
This week's grim report about global warming and a looming climate catastrophe.
Extreme weather, from drought to heavy rain and cyclones.
Seas are rising. Hurricanes will be more powerful like Katrina, and polar bears may be headed toward extinction.
We don't see that happen. Tornadoes are not increasing. The frequency of hurricanes is not increasing.
The world is heating up fast, and we have ourselves to blame.
I'm going to tell you something about the media and global warming. You don't hear real long. It's not all your fault, okay?
The problem with the media is that it's essentially become a business, and everything's going to be more sensationalized.
It's just been hype and scaremongering that global warming is real.
The fear element drives the media, and the media drives the hype. Fear is part of the equation.
When I started out in the 1970s, global cooling was the consensus.
He's not exaggerating. Take a look at this article from the LA Times in 1978. No end in sight to 30-year cooling trend in Northern Hemisphere. Or Time Magazine's big story from 1974 asking, another ice age? Newsweek said global cooling evidence had begun to accumulate so massively that meteorologists are hard-pressed to keep up with it.
Just switch out warming for cooling, and they've written this before.
It's true. The hype has been steady. The only thing that has changed is the temperature of the catastrophe. Take a look at this headline from the New York Times in 1959 claiming a warmer Earth evident at the poles. But just 2 years later, in the same newspaper, we find this. Scientists agree world is cooler. Even in the mid-90s, the Times was talking about a frozen Earth. Except it wasn't the 1990s, it was 1895.
I'll get your flash drive for you in just a second. That's okay. Don't worry about it. I'll get it.
Sorry. Thank you for letting me use the flash drive.
You're welcome.
Taylor, you didn't come in before the speech, did you? No. Okay. All right, Ryan, you needed a little bit more run-through on the presentation because it seemed like you've got a clear idea about what you want to talk about, and you've got some material that you're going to be referring to, but it's not being integrated into the presentation together. Your video clip, for instance, instead of being a part of the speech, it's like a postscript to the presentation. After the speech is all done, you have a recall of the visual on the graph after the speech is done also, and it needs to be integrated into some of the material that you've got on one of your middle points. The opening is awkward. I think that you could use the picture as your attention device, make a statement about it, and not engage in an audience survey, which was not getting you any reaction at all. It wasn't going a particular direction, so it just seems to sit there. You need to have a smoother way to get to the topic. Now, your topic, I think, is okay. You're on the brink of a persuasive speech, but what you want to do is talk about what I want to present to you today are the reasons why there is doubt about global warming. All right, and I want to talk about those reasons. First, I want to talk about how there are these myths about what's actually happening now. Second, I want to talk about how this is a natural cycle. And finally, I want to talk about how scientists have never been able to get this sort of thing correct. you know, and be that accurate about those sorts of things. And I think that that would give it a little bit more coherence and focus, like you said, on the informative aspect of it as opposed to making an argument. The video clip at the end goes on for a long period of time. It's, you know, 2+ minutes. I could see that it was going to be 9 minutes if you ran the whole thing. That's not, yeah, that's not going to work. Yeah, so that's way too long. You're not citing any of your sources in the presentation. You went through this whole thing talking about ice cores and mountaintop readings and the temperature being one way or the other, and I know that comes from someplace, but I'm not getting a citation on that. You have a tendency to do a lot of reading during the presentation. I thought you were pretty good in the opening part of the speech, but once you get to the body of the speech, you were kind of focused in on the notes that you have in your hand. Oh, sugar.